I was just going to say what you're really describing there is um, business enablement. So you're really, that's where procurement are really enabling the business and enabling the stakeholders to buy, whether it's goods or services, faster, easier, safer, in a compliant route that makes their life easier, probably makes the supplier's life easier and better as well, and works for the business, which is, it just makes so much sense. It just makes complete business sense. But I would say that it's possibly more in the minority than the majority of what I see and hear in the market at this particular point. And I do still feel that compared to some other business functions, procurement is maybe a younger function and it's still kind of evolving and coming to prominence. And that's definitely accelerated and is accelerating, I think. But do you think, in your experience with your peers and your network, do you think that procurement is able to act as that business enablement function or regarded as a business enabler as much as perhaps it should be?
Yeah, so I think that gets into because I'm a person of threes, so I'm always going to share with you three perspectives, right? So one perspective is about, and I hate to kind of dwell on this, but bandwidth is an issue because even if you have category management and that's your only responsibility, if you have not built a level of maturity around a category and you have multiple categories that you're responsible for, you're still being pulled in all these different directions. And so that then becomes a challenge to truly understand your customers, understand the suppliers. One of the things that, like, if I can briefly share, and then we'll get to the other 2 points as well. But one of the things, if I can briefly share, is that we were not like any other company when I first came into my role, right?
Right.
Um, First, I came into my role because I asked the company to give me the hardest area that they felt needed to be improved. Give me the most greenfield because there were areas of opportunity across almost all categories when I came into MasterCard. And and I see why they gave me what they gave me because from a supplier relationship standpoint, suppliers were engaged when transactions needed to be executed,
Right.
not in terms of a cadence that we have with the supplier, so we can truly understand capabilities. From a business standpoint, the business was more of that subject matter expert when it came to supplier capability than procurement was. And if that was the case, which was the case for us, then when there's new suppliers that the business wanted to work with, it was difficult for procurement to be able to push back and really share why these suppliers, or why do you want to work with this new supplier when we have these existing suppliers that have similar capabilities? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the ones that maybe procurement was pushing before because of a cost component, right? When you lead with cost, you've already lost the fight, in my mind, in that discussion, because you've lost credibility with the business. You don't lead with cost. I always talk about better, faster, cheaper. Cheaper being the third element, right? So I just wanted to kind of share that in that we were at kind of a ground zero maturity, just like a lot of other companies were when we first started. The second thing that I would share is that I think procurement professionals today, there is so much pressure that they face from like executives in terms of different corporate initiatives that it kind of takes the focus away from being able to drive optimization. Like, for example, there could be working capital initiatives, and you got to go work on that, right? There could be sustainability components. Um, there could be rationalization, like these individual components that actually collectively can be addressed if you have the right strategy to really try to optimize. So I think the pressure to kind of meet certain corporate objectives and kind of focused on that versus holistically thinking about how they fit into the overall category strategy. So I think that's number two, that I've seen at least in my engagements with my peers. And number three is just the relationship. Um, I think it's such a daunting task. People have to understand it takes years. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years to build the relationship with the business and with the suppliers to where you do become that trusted advisor. And um, I think because it's such an uphill, I guess, challenge to be able to do that, and people maybe have ambitions, right? They want to continue to grow, so they start to make some small improvements or initiatives, and then that helps them to get new roles. So there isn't the continuity within the category as well to be able to truly drive that optimization. So I think those are three components that I think are challenging my peers that I've at least in my engagements with them that I think makes it tough to drive towards that optimization. What do you think, Johnny?